Hi guys, it's Sophie. So today I'm going to be doing the first of my Man Booker 2016 book reviews, and the first one I have is Work Like Any Other by Virginia Reeves. I'm not going to hold the book up the whole way through just because it's a hardback, it's fairly heavy, so just if you want to have one more look at the cover, there it is, but it's going to go away from now on. I'm going to give you a slight overview of the plot before I jump into specifics. I'm going to avoid spoilers wherever possible, and if I do end up needing to go to spoilers, I will tell you beforehand, or at least put something up in the video to let you know. So the novel is set in 1920s Alabama, and we follow our main character Roscoe Martin, who is an electrician. Because of the timing, electricity and electricians is fairly new and a little bit like magic, and he adores it. He's one of those people who loves the sort of science and the understanding of this new technology and just thinks it's amazing, but he is surrounded by people who maybe don't get that quite so much. When his wife inherits her late father's farm, he has to up and leave his life of bringing electricity to all of these new houses and try and learn how to become a farmer. It's really not his cup of tea, it's not what he wanted to do. He's actually had to work quite hard to get away from going into that kind of manual labour, but ends up going anyway. And in his discontent and his sort of boredom, he decides what would be good to do for everyone, for the farm, for him, would be to run electricity lines to the house so that they can enjoy the things they enjoyed previously when he was working in a more urban setting. But he does so illegally and siphons off this power. And for a while it sort of is relatively positive, and the farm increases in prosperity, but a young man is killed on the illegal power lines, and that's sort of where our story sets off from. So far, although I've told you quite a lot, there's not really any spoilers there. That's all covered off in the blurb and is really covered off in most of chapter 1, I would say. In terms of how the story's narrative worked, because I said in my haul I wasn't really sure how it was going to fit in, because it feels like you'd lose a lot of the story, it's actually done in dual narrative for part 1, where we start sort of at the very beginning of the story and we run through to the middle in one narrative, and the other narrative, which occurs at the same time, starts in the middle and goes to the end, and then part 2 is sort of from the end onward. The main sort of themes are around the reliance we have on one another, as, you know, family, I suppose, and the other relationships that you form between people, and what you ask for from people and what you take. There's also the theme of redemption and what it means to be forgiven and what it takes to forgive someone else. And these aren't sort of loud themes, I wouldn't say, that they aren't screaming in your face. It's very quietly put to you throughout the novel in very little way, and you just sort of absorb them in. I thought they were really well done. They didn't feel as though you're having a message pushed on you, but definitely added to the story. It also talks about sort of the nature of institutions and the problems that were within them, especially at that time. So we have sort of the system to which Roscoe enters when he is found out, so what happens to him after that point. And we also have the system of energy within the States at that time. So we've got sort of the element of the farm, we've got coal, which is another side, and the electricity that he so loves, and it sort of plays into all of those things about where we draw from and what are the implications as well. So that was quite fun, and I think someone said in my haul video that in Alabama power is a really big industry, so that was quite interesting because it was quite a central point in the book, sort of a touchstone, and potentially if you knew a little bit more about Alabama and power, then it might have been even more impactful. The style of the writing is very sort of sparse, but I really liked it. I didn't feel as though there were any additional words, and I am someone who prefers thick descriptions. I just love those, but I could see that, you know, this was well done, and the writing, whilst not overly descriptive, I think was used very efficiently and was actually really nice. I thought all of the characters were really well fleshed out, pretty much all of them, so sort of the main characters with Roscoe, his wife, his son, and the 2 hired hands, Wilson and Maya, who live on their land. They were all incredibly well-rounded characters, and the sort of secondary characters that come in as the story progresses, I think even the smaller ones I had some sense of. Sometimes for me I find it difficult to remember characters' names as I'm reading through, so if you have someone who's only appeared a few times, I won't necessarily remember who they are, and I found with this book I kind of was automatically knowing who they were just by reading a little bit about, reading the first bit of the sentence. I could find the character, so I think the characters were done really well. I think in summary, it's just a good story, and whilst that sounds maybe a little sort of diminutive, it's not. I think it's tricky to get a really well done story that's believable throughout, and whilst for me personally it didn't have any great sort of impact on my life, it was very enjoyable to read and it was very believable, and I think it was really well crafted. So if it sounds of interest to you, then let me know down below if you're going to check it out, and if it doesn't sound like your cup of tea, let me know as well, because I'm always interested in that. And I will see you soon in my next review video. Hopefully this has been helpful. Thank you ever so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye bye. This is part 1 of the Man Bookers that I'm most excited to get to for the year 2016. Now, I haven't started reading any of these yet, and it's taken just about all of my self-control.